So as I mentioned in some of my previous videos, I've had the intention of starting off my journey as a freelance filmmaker. And as I sit here talking to you guys today, it's been about a month since I started my freelancing journey. For those of you who may not know what freelancing is, it just basically means that I'm a self-employed filmmaker that companies or individuals can hire to shoot, write, and edit videos for them. Before I get into the actual experience that I've had freelancing over the past month, I just want to mention that if you would have asked me what my career plans were 2 years ago, I would have never imagined that I would be making videos for other people. I never even considered filmmaking as a viable route that I could take, nor did I even show any sort of interest into the art of filmmaking or cinematography. I started off my freshman year of college thinking that I was going to be a physical therapist. I basically played sports my entire life, so for some reason I guess I thought it would have been a good transition to go from sports to physical therapy. But after shadowing in some physical therapy clinics my freshman year, I quickly found out that this wasn't going to be for me. And so moving on to my sophomore year, I actually switched my major to business for whatever reason. And I actually got really into entrepreneurship and just the whole Silicon Valley startup world. Like, I was really deep into it. So much so that I actually came up with my own social media app, like probably the beginning of my sophomore year, that I really put a lot into. I went as far as creating my own designs for the app, finding a developer to help me build it out, starting a pre-launch marketing campaign, and it came to the point where I was so close to launching this app, but then COVID hit. This really kind of derailed and sidetracked everything that I had been working on, and I ended up having to put those plans on hold for the time being. So during the whole start of the pandemic, I ended up just moving back home and finishing off school from here, which leads me to around the beginning of 2020 when I was first introduced to making videos. And I would definitely say that one of the biggest reasons I got into filmmaking to begin with was because of my brother Javier, who, if you've watched my videos in the past, you probably know very well. And for whatever reason, one random night, I just asked him for footage that he still had from my graduation trip 2 years before. He ended up telling me just to try and put something together with all the footage that I had, because he really wasn't going to do anything with it. And at first I was pretty resistant to the idea of just trying it out for some reason. I guess it's just that same resistance that we all face when it comes to trying new things. A part of it definitely just had to do with me being lazy and not wanting to try. And another part was me just making these assumptions that editing would be too difficult and I would just find it boring. But for whatever reason, this time I just decided to try it out. My brother just basically gave me a 30-minute crash course on all of the basics that I needed to get started. And after he gave me that little lesson, I spent the entire night just putting this video together. And I just remember certain feelings that I had when I was putting the video together that night that I really enjoyed and that I still enjoy till this day. A part of it is just rewatching and laughing and even sometimes tearing up at old moments and memories that I forgot even happened. And I think what really intrigued me about making this video was how I was able to take these separate clips that really don't have too much context on their own and combining them with other clips along with a song that fits. And when all those things are combined along with my own spin on it, the outcome is something that really just takes on a life of its own. It ends up creating this thing that really is just much more significant than a simple video. It elicits certain feelings and emotions that really nothing else can make you feel. So fast forward a year and a half later, and now I'm 1 month into freelancing and I'm here on YouTube making videos for you guys. I would say that the first month of freelancing has really just taught me not only all that there is to learn about the art of filmmaking and cinematography, but also all that goes into client work and running your own business. A little bit of BTS for this shot that I did. So literally I was sitting right there, right? I have this light directly pointed right in front of me, and then I actually put literally just a reflector on this seat. I don't have a freaking stand for it, but there's just not much room to work with and background to work with. So the fact that I made it decent looking right here is actually, I kind of blew my mind with that. I should mention that the first few clients that I've gotten this month have actually came through the platforms of Fiverr and Upwork. And these platforms basically connect freelancers like me to companies or individuals who are looking for services such as video editing, graphic design, development, and all sorts of creative work. It really blew my mind when I first got contacted on these platforms. I saw how many freelancers there are out there and how talented some of these people are. But it ended up only taking about a week for someone to reach out to me to edit a YouTube video. And even though I was super excited about getting my first client, I was also like, oh shit, where the heck do I go from here? Even though I had been making videos for quite some time, there's still things about doing client work that are necessary to be able to provide a quality product that satisfies the client. And on top of that, there's also things that are necessary for me to make the process of making this video and delivering it a lot smoother and more efficient. And one thing I'm still trying to get over, but I doubt I ever fully will, is just the fear and pressure that comes along with making videos for other people. And I feel like a lot of that comes from the fear of not being able to deliver a product that my client will be satisfied with, and the thought of getting into a situation where I don't have the adequate knowledge or experience to deliver on a project. And so with all that said, this is definitely something that I can see myself pursuing for years to come. And my ultimate short-term goal at this point is to go full-time as a freelance filmmaker. But currently I'm really not getting consistent enough projects to be able to sustain myself financially. But hopefully soon enough I will be able to make that leap. I would consider myself a very routine-oriented person, and sometimes I have trouble deviating from the things that I know and trying out different things. So it really still surprises me when I think about that night that I decided to edit my first video. I understand that many of you watching this may not be filmmakers yourself, so you might not care too much about what I've learned as a freelancer. But I feel like the main message and lesson that I want to share with you through this experience is that you truly never know where life is going to take you and what opportunities you might stumble upon if you open yourself up to new experiences, and also what might be on the horizon of all of the struggles that you're currently going through. I went through 3 years of college, changed my major 3 times, graduated with a psychology degree that at this stage in my life I don't see myself ever using. And at first one would think that those 3 years were just a waste of time and money. But looking back at it now, it seems that I had to go through those 3 years of not knowing what the hell I wanted to do just to get into the position that I'm in today of possibly knowing what I want to do. Of course, ideally, it would have saved me a great amount of time and frustration if the route I was supposed to take was just laid out right in front of me. But if that were the case, then I ultimately wouldn't have any of these experiences to share with you guys, and I feel like that's what it's all about. There's a quote that goes, "You don't choose your passion chooses you." Maybe the route you want to take is already in front of you, or maybe you do have to keep searching. It's very possible and likely that most of the things that you try out will not pique your interest, and you might experience that for a long time. But as long as you're actively seeking it out, eventually, when you least expect it, something will click.